Good evening. Good evening, our respected principal sir, our guest speaker, all participants are present here, and my dear students. As we are aware that the government of India has called for the agenda innovating India, for the India and from India, focusing on to liberate entrepreneurship and innovation from bureaucratic silos and creating an institutional mechanism to promote innovation with young innovators. India aspires to become $5 trillion economy by 2024. To reach the mark, it needs to evolve systems and mechanisms to convert the present demographic dividend into high quality technical human resource capable of doing cutting edge research and innovation and deep tech entrepreneurship. In order to achieve innovation as the epicenter of education and to ensure the innovation and startup culture as the primary fulcrum of our higher education system, the Ministry of Education, MOE, Government of India is taking different actions, promoting several schemes. Institutions Innovation Council BIT has also joined in this venture to ensure an unprecedented wave of long deserved growth and prosperity. Today, IIC BIT has arranged a webinar on topic workshop on design thinking, critical thinking, and innovation design, which will surely help us to set this in motion. Warm welcome to all of you in this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Bulbul Mukherjee, madam. Now, I would like to request our own principal, sir, to sharing some few words.
Yeah, good evening to everybody. It's my pleasure that, I'm welcoming one of our ex-faculty, Dr. Rig Das, who will be speaking today to our students as well as the faculties on design thinking, critical thinking, and innovation design. So I heartily welcome Dr. Rig Das, and also I welcome and thank Professor Orpita Chakraborty, President of IIC, and also Tanmoy Pal, and also Tapan Kumar Pal. Both are IIC convener as well as the Vice President, respectively. And of course, Professor Bulbul Mukherjee, who is coordinating this particular webinar, together with the IIC team. This IIC team is working very well. They are organizing number of events, and they're trying to help our students on modern topics as well as the topics which are of relevant to the future of their profession. So, my dear students, I heartily welcome you all also. And see Dr. Rig Das, who is ex-faculty of BIT, he has come forwarded to share his views with regard to the profession as well as whatever he has learned and achieved in life. So you are getting everything ready-made. So that will help you grow further. So you try to learn as much as possible from him, and also ask question wherever you feel that you need some clarification on all those points. It is Dr. Rig Das who will be your best teacher, because he has got some fascination for the BIT, Bengal Institute of Technology. So he will love to share his views and ideas with you. So for your kind information, I was listening to our budget, India's budget, a budget of 2022. So what I found is government is giving lot of focus to the innovation, design, and also the startup different startups and skill development. So in years to come, India as a whole, it will come forward and will compete with the whole world on different aspects. And whole world has recognized that all Indian, they have got a ignite brains, so they can do wonder. So it is the country's policy how to ignite all those brains and how to go along with the, say, Atmanirbhar Bharat. So you all students, it is your platform, it is your time to do something extra and do something in an innovative way. See, we have a single life, within the single life, we have specific time to grow professionally. So when you are in the college, try to learn maximum. It is the faculties who will be providing you all facilities together with whatever they could do. They are inviting all the, the BIT's alumni, as well as the people from the industry, to help you to grow to grow yourself professionally and learn about the advanced technology, and also to learn how the things are moving ahead. So don't think that, okay, say by escaping from the lecture, you will be gaining some time, you will be enjoying in some other purposes. The time you will be losing hearing all this advanced technology and advanced topics, you will be the loser. So students, so we have a Saraswati Puja in advance, say after 2 days. So before Saraswati Puja, try to learn something and pray to Mother Saraswati, God Saraswati, that okay, Mother Saraswati should give you the right direction and the right perspective to go in a better way. So without taking much of your time, so I again welcome Dr. Rick Das, who is a ex-faculty of BIT and a good lover of BIT. So to take the things sportingly and also help the institute in future in whatever way he can. So thank you very much. Again, a big thank to IAC and the IAC team for doing good work. So this is the things from my side. Please go ahead with the activities.
Thank you, Principal Sir, for sharing our notions. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Now, I would like to request President of IIC BIT, Professor Urpita Chakraborty Madam, to say something.
Thank you,
Urpita
Shanti.
Di, over to you.
Thank you, Shanti. Thank you, Principal Sir, for your encouraging words that always motivate us to walk extra miles. Thank you, sir, and hope everyone is keeping well. So, being the president of IIC Institutions Innovation Council, as you all are aware that it is a joint initiative of Ministry of Education and AICT. Today we are going to organize this workshop on design thinking and critical thinking. My dear students, you also know that within the short time we are going to host another event. It's innovative business idea. You are going to participate on this event, innovative business idea. And before that, this workshop is very much relevant, I think, because this workshop will give you some idea of what to do, what is the design thinking, why it is relevant for proposing a new business idea, maybe any not only business idea, for proposing any prototype, anything else. So it is nothing but a powerful problem solving process which is actually helpful for solving different type of problems which are everyday present in our day-to-day life. So students, I think you'll be learning this from our eminent speaker. We are fortunate enough that today we are having such an eminent speaker with us, and I hope you'll be learning to the maximum level possible from him, and you'll not hesitate to ask your questions. Feel free to ask him questions and do write it in the chat box. and the questions will be answered definitely. So without wasting further time, we would like to enter into the main program. Thank you everyone, and I would like to welcome you all again, once again, for today's workshop. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Orpita Chakraborty, Madam. As we know, Ministry of Human Resource Development, MHRD, is addressing challenges of building our streaming innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem in higher education institution by setting up an institution innovation cell called IIC. IIC at Institute is a unique model on hub with different activities in campus for effective engagement and learning, participate in innovation among student and faculty communities. Consequently, IIC-BIT is organized today's workshop on design thinking, critical thinking, and innovation design. Hope we will highly motivate by today's session. Now, let me introduce our today's guest speaker, Dr. Rick Das. Dr. Rick Das has over 17 years of experience in research and academics with various leading universities and institutes in India. Dr. Das is recently appointed as a distinguished speaker of the Association for the Computing Machineries in New York. He is featured in ULEX Wall of Fame as one of the top 50 tech-savvy academicians in higher education across India for the year of 2019. He is also a member of International Advisory Committee of All Forum in UK. Dr. Das is recipient of prestigious in Research Excellence Award hosted in the year of 2020. He has carried out collaborative research with professionals from industries like Philips in Canada, Cognizant Technology Solution, TCS, and so on. Dr. Das has published 2 Indian patents consecutively during the year of 2018 and 19, and has over 30 international publications till date with reputable publishers like IEEE, Springer, Emerald, and so on. He has authored 3 books in the domain of content-based image classification and has 3 edited volumes with IGI Global, CRC Press, Germany, respectively. Welcome, sir. Welcome to Bengal Institute of Technology. We are eagerly wait to hear few words from you. The session is yours. Sir, over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Santhini, Santhi, I guess, right, for this wonderful
Yes.
introduction that you have extended for me. And I am thankful to the management of Bengal Institute of Technology as usual. And of course, I would like to express my gratitude to Principal Sir for, making things known to us regarding what are the initiatives taken by Government of India and why we should be inclined towards the various aspects of design thinking as well as innovation. Apart from that, my colleagues here, like Bulbul is here, Triptidi is here, and other professors were there, and of course Tanmay, who got in touch with me, and Professor Arpita as well, and Shreyashi is also there. So, and my other fellow colleagues with whom I have spent quite a nice time of my life here at BIT, since this is my first academic job when I joined BIT. Prior to that, when I got out from my BE, I have been in the industry, but in a different role. So I used to be in the business development sector, and I have worked with a couple of organizations primarily, and initially my first appointment has been with Great Eastern Impacts Private Limited, which is a barcoding solution company, followed by Zenith Computers Limited and Development Credit Bank. And after that, I joined BIT since I was willing to do my higher studies. So why exactly I am giving all these insights to you? Because I am, no icon that I should give my entire life story to you, but this is just to make you understand that the topic which is of relevance today and which for which we are about to discuss or interact rather is based on some kind of a customer-centric approach. Now, let me share my screen before I move ahead so that we can understand the thing that what exactly I am trying to share with you all. So welcome all the participants once again from my end, and welcome my dear students. Hi guys, hope you guys are doing well and keeping well, keeping safe at your residence, and enjoying it in your own way. Of course, during your engineering days, and we tend to enjoy the time during our engineering days because probably this is the last free time that we get before we get into the nitty-gritties of our life, and especially to the nitty-gritties of our, let's say, social life after we pass out, after we get our job. So we do get engaged in several kinds of commitments, right? And then probably we miss our time of, this kind of liberty or this kind of free enjoyment and things like that. So that is why we are actually trying to enjoy most of the time that we have during our engineering days. But then essentially, while we do so, probably we keep on trying inventing ourselves. Primarily, it starts with, since when I was in my engineering days, it starts with frustration, right? That everybody will get everything on this earth, but then what am I doing really with my life? And it is taking me nowhere. So this is what is the topic of today, is design thinking, critical thinking, and innovation design, which is the name of the session, as well as, let me take a walkthrough of what exactly we are trying to cover through this. First is the prelude, that is the introduction part, in which probably we'll be interacting on some of the basics. Then about a little bit on critical thinking, followed by significance of design thinking and the approach for design thinking, and the final words. So this is what we are trying to cover here. So primarily, when we start, and the thing which I was actually, actually communicating to you all, that this is something when we are in our engineering days, and when we try to manifest several kinds of ideas, but then hardly there are so many volatile things which are happening around us, and in and around the locality and in the environment, and especially to the students who are facing this COVID time during their engineering days. Probably half of their time in engineering, those who were newly admitted back in 2020, I guess. So 2 years of their engineering days are already gone, half of their engineering life, staying back at their home. Hardly they can come down to the college, right? So many things, many expectations are there, but then there are many enthusiasm as well. But then probably due to this inconsistent condition that is prevailing for the last 2 years, we are not really been able to find out the way out from this. And most importantly, this is some kind of an issue of mental health that is very important to all of us. So now, when I say a customer-centric approach, but before that, we need to understand the environment. So who is the customer to us? The primary and the foremost customer to all of us, can anyone tell me that, among the students, that who is the primary customer we need to satisfy so that we can move ahead with other customers in the line? So can anybody tell me who is the primary customer we would first try to satisfy before thinking of any other customer? Who is the primary customer?
Consumers.
Okay, fine. So that is absolutely okay. But I'm trying to understand that, can you name someone who is the primary customer to each one of us whom we should satisfy first? So probably, sorry?
Ourselves.
Sorry, I'm unable to understand this. Would you come again?
Ourselves.
Yeah. So we ourselves are the primary customers. That's what I'm intending to point out, that we ourselves, if you yourself is not happy with whatever you're doing with your life, then forget about the other customers. You can't make anybody happy, right? That's what is the basic funda or the basic idea. So, boss, it's very important for all of us to understand that what exactly we are trying to do with our life and whether we ourselves are happy or not with whatever we are dealing with our life. Now, it is a matter of fact that whatever you do for yourself, since you are not the only one responsible for your life, there are so many stakeholders those who are involved in your life. You cannot be entirely happy with your life, right? So you need to understand the art of trade-off. So what do I mean when I say trade-off? Trade-off means a kind of a let's say a kind of an understanding which you make to get the maximum optimization of let's say satisfaction out of whatever environment is there in and around you. Okay, so in that way you try to in fact make yourself happy. So what is the basic reason behind that? So as I have been mentioning here, that currently we are in the in midst of this VUCA world, right? So this acronym of VUCA is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Now, this is no new term, neither it is coined by me. Uh, so neither it is coined by me, but then the thing is like this, that this condition is true for all of us whenever we are looking in and around us, right? So why there is volatility? You see, the kind of atmosphere we are in, the kind of environment we are in, nothing seems to be very, very consistent, right? So let me tell you, when we used to be in our childhood, we hardly used to have one particular channel, which is national network, right? We used to have in our TVs, television sets, which used to be there at that time. Sorry, is there any issue? Shall I proceed? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, proceed.
Sure. So what I'm trying to say, we used to have one television channel for us, that is the national network, right? But after that, what happened? Suddenly, these guys came, like cable TV and all these stuffs came in. So what happened that we were having so many channels, and when we were around in our 11th standard or 12th standard, we used to fantasize that we will be having the cable at our house, and throughout the day we will be watching movies. Like we used to go to our friends' places, and there we used to see that Z channel and the Sony and all these stuffs. So those were very new concepts at that point of time. So that was something great. But at our times, just before this, you think that things were like that. If you even want to have an extra channel, I'm talking about myself because I was not staying at Kolkata, right? So I used to stay somewhere that is beyond Kolkata, and that is near Asansol, you might be knowing. So there used to be another channel, that is second channel. So that used to be there only for Kolkata exclusively, and that was not being transmitted in those portions of Bengal. So what used to happen, that if we at all would like to have a separate channel, we used to feed a booster by which we can get hold of some channels which comes from Bangladesh, right? So what is the facility out there? We used to have some good cartoons of Spider-Man and stuff like that, which used to happen there in those channels. So that was the only recreation kind of, I mean, in case of television. So that has transformed, and you see these things have happened. And like cable TV and all. And even after that, these days, these are also no more relevant. You can see the OTTs, right? And apart from that, people like me, or there are so many people who neither looks for OTT nor for the cable TV. Whenever they feel like, they just get into YouTube, right? So when YouTube was first launched, I am personally sharing my experience with you. I used to think that who the hell is going to watch this YouTube? All the stuffs which are already there, which somebody has already, I mean, we have already experienced or seen, that's what are being uploaded there in YouTube. So how really does it make a difference? But then I was, naive enough to understand the psychology of people based on which Google built such a big business model, right? So now you see the popularity of YouTube. It is not just a media for you to watch movies or to, listen to stories or stuff like that. It is a big, big educational media for all of us. So if you really want to have that, but then you have to be careful while you are selecting the topic, you would like to educate yourself through YouTube, right? So that's just a different topic altogether. But then what I'm trying to tell you by saying this is that this is the volatility, the type of volatility you are having. I have like people like me have experienced maybe in big intervals during while we grew up. But then currently the current generation is experiencing this volatility in and out every day and night. The way it is moving faster and faster and faster. And that's what is actually giving rise to uncertainty. Now, you see, this particular uncertainty which is there all around us, what is the reason for that? The reason behind this is we are living in a state of volatility, which is in most of the times in our mental state, we are thinking that everything around us is uncertain. You see how much whimsical we are these days. We do not have a proper particular goal. Otherwise, you see, in earlier days, earlier means during, the days when our parents used to work, used to go to offices, they were having a very specific goal, specific growth path, specific kind of a motivation. But then currently, nothing is specific. Nothing you can say that, this is very certain. This is going to give me or bring me this kind of fruits or results. Nothing is certain. Why? Because of this volatility. And eventually this results in complexity, right? So complexity in the thought process, complexity in maintaining your consistency, complexity in bringing in certain kinds of value addition in and around you. And obviously from this complexity, what will happen? You will get into ambiguity. So there are so much of confusion, so much of ambiguities, what to do, what not to do, whether to keep a mask in Omicron or to take it off, or to do something else, whether to go ahead with Covaxin or Covishield. You see, so much of ambiguity is there in our lives, right? So this has come to define the digital economy as highly disruptive environment and potentially punitive, right? Because of the fact, you see, disruption has now become a buzzword. And the way we are leading our lives, the way we are living our lives, and within this VUCA environment, as I was just now, explaining to you guys, is something which has really become a matter of concern for us, that how we can achieve Majis. So this Majis is essentially, I would rather say that it is being used by the Jesuits. I mean, those who are the followers of Jesus, and that is a specific community, Jesuits, so to whom this, all this community belongs. I mean, the Jesuit community, and the padres are there as well, the fathers. So they especially believe in Majis. What is Majis? That is striving for excellence. So striving for excellence doesn't really have a particular kind of an outlook. What is excellence? We cannot really define that, okay? I mean, is there anybody who can define excellence? What is excellence? There is no limit to it. So you can have your own way of defining excellence. So do I. So do other XYZ people. So they may have their different levels and different, let's say, domain or different areas of defining the excellence, and the extent they wish to go ahead with while defining that excellence. So it varies, all right? So we cannot just say that, man, this is the excellence for me, this is the excellence, that is the excellence for you. There is no suitable definition. Neither I can define excellence for you and vice versa. Why? Because of the fact, your way of thinking, your thought process, your way of perceiving the good and bad of a particular thing, pros and cons of a particular things, essentially should not be aligning with me, right? Because of the fact you are a different human being, at the end of the day, I am a different human being. So the way we think, the way we move ahead, the way we the way we perceive things, the way we look at the world is totally different, isn't it? So to somebody's digit may look to be 6, to me it may be 9, and it differs from the direction you are looking at it, okay? Like the sun rises in the east, sets in the west, but then all of us currently know that neither it rises nor it sets, right? But then it depends. To a kid, it is his or her own world. To ourselves, it is our own world. So obviously, you can understand that how these things differs from one another. So I have just given this particular example. Like this is a bird, I mean, kind of a kingfisher kind of a bird, right? So everything that we do in our life, in most of the cases, is inspired by nature, right or wrong? Anybody can, extend his or her thoughts in this. What I said, the statement that I have given just now is whatever we try to do in our life is is inspired by nature. Is it right or wrong? You're free to comment. Yeah. Right. Okay. Great. So that is usually the case, right? You might have seen the kind of innovations that are being I should not use the term innovation here. It is too early to use now. What I should say that the kind of services that we are interested in, the kind of offerings that we try to use in our daily life, we are actually doing that by getting inspired from nature, right? So, for example, this particular kind of structure of this bird is actually having a kind of a meaning which has been used by the automobile industry. So can you tell me what is this structure is meant for? What is this structure called in automobile industry?
Aerodynamics, sir.
Exactly so. So this is the aerodynamic. So if you remember the structure of Honda City before this current model, right? The current model is box shaped, right? So prior to that, not only Honda City, it was Hyundai or all these guys used to have the aerodynamic designs, right? So you see these, locos which are being then, designed based on this kind of structure. Okay. Why? Because it lowers the air pressure. These are bullet trains, isn't it? So what will happen? This lowers the air pressure by almost 30% if you look at it. So they have observed now they have observed that why this structure of a bird, how it is helping the bird to fly, and based on that they have tried and essentially designed this particular kind of a shape for this particular as you can see, this particular logo. So what happens is that it is somewhat inspired by nature. So why I have given the example, because it is very much essential at times, if I say to do critical thinking, then it is not that you are going to start critical thinking. You will only do that when you feel that that is essential. So today, if I conduct a session here and say that, look, all of you must do critical thinking, so you will be saying that this guy must have gone mad. So I will do the critical thinking if at all it is necessary. And I would rather endorse that. Okay. That, if I say you to do critical thinking, it's not essential for you to do critical thinking unless and until you are not finding it worthy, right? Because of the fact, why would you waste your time by doing critical thinking? Okay. Anyways, there are so many things in life to do, and the lifespan is so short that hardly we can manage to do things. So while we think of design thinking that we are about to discuss here, the innovation part, innovation with design thinking that we aspire to do, that demands critical thinking. That's what is the idea. So we must understand our assumptions that frame our ideas and shape our design. Okay. So, when I say this, creative or critical, I would rather, instead of saying this to you theoretically, I would rather take you an example or take you to an example. Yeah. Anybody would like to say something? Okay, all right. So then what I'm trying to tell here is that, so what is this particular picture is saying, whether you would like to go creative or critical. Now, at the inception of my talk here, I have said one particular thing, that whether, who is the first customer you would like to satisfy, and we all agreed to the proposition that it is us, that is, it is ourselves, to our own self, that we would like to satisfy first. Okay. So as I was saying, when this is just an example, this is just to take a walk through. That what in what way I, being my customer, tried to satisfy myself. So when I started and I got out of my, I got a chance there to go ahead with information technology in let's say a B in information technology. So the scenario was like this, that if you get into B with information technology, even in your second, just you get the admission and the job will be there at your doorstep, right? So I was very happy to got into this information technology B, and I was thinking of, you have seen the Belgium glass stuffs in MNCs, all right? So then these things were there, this TCS and IBM, these guys were building up their huge mansions there in Sector 5. And I used to dream that once I get inside this, this particular stream of information technology, I will be working there, and I will, at that point of time, so I was much younger then, I will be settled in my life. I will have huge glamour and, kind of, say among my friends and relatives, and, people will look up to me. So that was my thought process. And I was very happy. But then suddenly what happened? There was this twin tower clash just before we got passed from this particular course of 4 years, right? So twin tower clash was there, but we were unable to understand the impact. We understood the impact when there was the placement season. All right. So why I'm giving you this example, because this might be very familiar to you, right? When there was a placement season, there was hardly any organization coming for the placement of the IT or the computer science guys. And in fact, as a matter of fact, there was no campusing for anybody, because the economy was experiencing a severe slowdown. All right. So what happened is that, as a customer, right at the inception of my professional degree, and not only me, lots of friends of mine who used to be my batchmates at that point of time, we all were stuck. So some of us managed to have some kind of job through campus placement offer. So I myself got into HCL then, HCL Infosystem, right? So there as a management training. But then, I was there in the waiting list, and till date, I mean, now this time when I am conversing with you, there is no result. So I consider that I am still in the waiting list, right? So I never got the offer finally. All right. So after that, what happened? I tried to, satisfy myself and got out of, let's say, the B after passing the final semester. And then I was having a habit at that point of time that why not to appear for interviews anyways, I have to do so. Since companies are not coming for campus interviews, why not to go voluntarily in off campus and appear there? So there was hardly any software interviews. So I used to appear for any damn interview which comes in my way. So especially the most easy interviews or easily achievable interviews which I used to get was of sales jobs, right? So I used to go anywhere. I have gone for, this sales job of ceasefire equipments, and even once I have gone for an audition. So the entire day I used to search for job. Okay, in the third year, when I was in the third year. So I was practicing then, preparing myself, so that I understood by then that I need to fight a lot when I get out. So I was practicing and preparing myself to find a job, and I used to go for all those types of interviews. And one day, in the entire day, so if I do not crack a job, even a single day, because I was not eligible to join then, since I was already just getting into fourth year, but then I used to, give the interviews, and there, in case I get selected, I used to become very happy that, okay, I will at least get some kind of a job. So there was a day which was a bad day for me, and I was not really able to crack any of the interviews, and I was coming back. And suddenly I saw there was a crowd at some place, near Tollygunge, and I, just got out of the bus, and went there and inquired that what is happening. So people told me that there is an audition which is going on. There is an audition which is going on for Radio Mirchi. So I stayed back there to try my luck that whether even I can join there as a RJ or something like that. So at that point of time, there used to be two very popular RJs who used to be our role models. Those were Rakesh and Pragya. I don't know they're still there or not. But then I thought that why not to try my luck? And these are the kind of I would not say radical thinking, but weird kind of thinkings people like me used to have at that point of time. But then finally I never appeared for that because of the fact the people, the way they were rehearsing, I was not that much open at that point of time. I thought that it will be really very, very awkward for me to go and give the audition, although I was about to get my B degree then. So what happened is that I went back to home, and then after that, as I was saying, to cut the long story short, so I got into this business development job primarily. So during my business development stint, I used to visit customers, and there were very senior customers who used to be there, to whom I used to visit and offer solutions to different problems, and then pitch my products and stuff like that. So then I was very young, just passed out my B. And they used to tell me that why are you, doing this task? Why are you wasting your time? Why don't you go for higher studies and stuff like that? But then, as long as I stayed back there as a business development executive, I learned very, very essential life skills. Why am I saying this? Because there is no job or no profile which is shameful, right? If I'm holding back with my ego, okay, I am a B and I'm an engineer, why should I work with a normal person or a normal pass out? And why I mean normal pass out means, what I mean to say, that why have I done B if I am working this job I would have got if I would have done a BSc or a BA or something like that. Even why should I be a B then? But then one thing that was there in my mind, that whatever sales or whatever stuffs I should do, I should be in the technical domain. Okay. So like I went ahead and did that. But then, I was really being suggested by many seniors there who used to be my client that why don't you go for a higher study? So then I was looking for an opportunity, and I also got into this profession of teaching, and I gradually entered it, and simultaneously I started doing my MTech here. So your professors used to be my colleague at that point of time when I was doing my MTech, and we were all aspiring for something or the other. While I was doing my MTech, there were other professors also used to be there with me. They were much more focused than me, much more serious than me, and they started the process of satisfying themselves as a customer by doing radical thinking, or rather, I should say, critical thinking here, right from the beginning. Because critical thinking is something. Why am I giving this example? Which you do while you are guided by certain rules. Okay. So this is critical thinking, that that you are an engineer, and then you can rather go ahead with an MTech or an MBA and stuff like that. So each time I used to go ahead, I was not that a critical thinker. Rather, I preferred and I am sure my colleagues here would endorse that. I preferred to spend my time entirely by gossiping with my colleagues, by conducting sessions, and then we used to have picnics, and and we all were very young, and none of us were married at that point of time, and we used to have a gala time, in fact. So why to get into all these stuffs? Okay. So what happened is that, but then my other colleagues who used to be there, a little bit senior to me, or even some of them were almost of my age at that point of time, they were far more serious than me, and they have completed their PhD by then, and many of them got into like big corporations, which used to be my dream at that point of time. Okay, like all these MNCs and all this stuff. So somehow I completed my MTech with University of Calcutta at that point of time with a decent score, reasonably good score, and then I thought of, I was having a kind of a bomb in my head that why not to get into, let's say, industry. Okay. So now Now it comes the time as a customer for me to satisfy myself that, how to do creative thinking. Why here creative thinking comes? Because it goes beyond critical. Why? Let me show you. So this is what is critical and creative thinking, okay? So critical thinking calls for analyzing the problem, evaluating the solutions, critique the solution, implement the solution, okay? So you are having a problem, man. So you please try to understand. You are already having a problem, and this is the problem domain which is defined to me, and let's say you are evaluating the solution and stuff like that. But then when you look at the creative thinking, you see you are imagining solutions of what? The problems which are not defined by someone else to you. Okay. So here I would rather say there is a difference, right? So just to clarify my whatever I am saying, my statements. So in case of creative thinking, if we think in terms of problem definition, while we are doing our research, all of you must be aware of doing PhDs and stuff like that, right? So while we all are doing our research, at that point of time, the problem is being defined mostly in India, the problem is being defined by us, and we do solutions and stuff like that. But when it goes to industry, industrial research, corporate research, which we refer to, there the problem is defined by the customer, all right? So this is the difference. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is that here the critical thinking comes into place when I am thinking that suddenly from academia, I would like to shift to industry when the slowdown is still going on, okay? So I started doing creative thinking, and some of my colleagues here at BIT only, they went ahead and joined places like IBM and Tech Mahindra, I guess also. And they used to be the corporate trainer. So I thought that, look, I am having a teaching experience, and why don't, it should be like that. Why don't I try my luck to become a corporate trainer? So I tried applying, but then I was not having the relevant skills at that point of time to get a job of a corporate trainer. And eventually, I was not getting entertained. And one of the cases, it so happened that I am not naming the organization. That was a big organization. I went ahead till the final round. And in the final round, the head HR is saying, oh, no, you are having all the experience in academia. So how can we recruit you? If you would have got even 6 months experience in corporate, we would have recruited you. And on that day, trust me, that is a very bad gesture from my end, I would rather say. I was so frustrated that, I went ahead, I competed with experienced guys. I made it to the final round. And just because of this academic experience, they're thinking that I am unable to do stuff like this. Okay. So what to do? I was having another interview on the same day, but that was for academia. So I went ahead in that interview, and I was very aggressive in that interview. So even the interviewers got a little bit worried that what this guy is saying. But then eventually, I came out of the interview, and even I felt very weird that why I behaved in such a way in that particular interview. But then that is the truth. So I was doing critical thinking in conventional manner, which was not bringing me solution to satisfy me as a customer. Why? Because there was no innovation. Okay. So I tried off then corporate training in that mannerism. I tried to adopt, and eventually I went ahead and joined some B school, right? That is Globson B school. And even after that, I went ahead and did NMIMS. And probably that is Narsimhanji Mumbai. After that, I joined. So probably from there, I started doing creative thinking about myself. So what was the creative thinking? Can anyone tell me? I mean, although it is not that remarkable, but then whatever I have said till now, can anybody from the students can tell me that what was the creative thinking out here, which I have done differently than what I was doing earlier when I was looking for job in industry from the academia. And now, as I said, that I move ahead with, Globson B School or Narsimhanji Mumbai, which is also somewhat known as a B school. University although, but then I went ahead and I used to conduct lectures there for even MBA Tech, and apart from that, the BE and all this stuff. So Where is the creativity, and how does it differ from critical thinking to a creative thinking if a person is doing like this? So can anybody tell me? No issues. In the chat box, you can respond. But then if not, let me tell you what was my thought process. I'm telling you because I'm a customer here, let's say to myself, and if you consider me as your customer, then also. So what is the critical thinking here? Sorry, creative thinking here, let me tell you. What I found is that, like, people of my qualification at that point of time, I'm saying people of my qualification, there are so many, right, who are there in this space of technology and technical teaching, like in B school and all this. Sorry, in engineering colleges and all this stuffs. So I asked myself, what do you want? Okay, so it's that I would like to test myself in diversified environment, that whether I can get along with that or not. Second is that I would like to test my competency as a professional who is a professional, whatever be the place, whether it is a B school, whether it is an engineering college, whether it is an industry. Third is that I would also like to check my competence as someone who is, let's say, who is a little bit odd man out, because in B schools or places like this, you will not find much people having a background who has done a BE, MTech, PhD in information technology or computer vision or stuff like that, and working in these places. Fourth is that, of course, some PYs. So eventually, one thing is for sure, that the kind of package you get in B schools are at times even higher than whatever corporate will offer you. Okay. So these are certain aspects of every professional. I mean, I'm being very upfront, things like this, that whether to get some recognition in career as well as to have some kind of social security. Okay. So that was totally kind of a experimentation with myself I went ahead with, and that actually stretched me to Mumbai when I joined NMMs. So fine, I joined there, I stayed back there for 2 years, and then again I was in my PhD, and I got a chance with Xavier's, and I came to Xavier's Ranchi, and I joined there as an assistant professor, and I was doing my job. So for last 9.5 years I was with them. So there I completed my PhD. And again, I am telling you that where these things pitches in, that is the critical and the creative thinking. So while I was doing my PhD, the thing is like that, I found that many people are doing PhD. It's not only me who is doing PhD. So then how do I create a difference while I do a PhD? Okay. So first, I tried to find out that what is my goal of doing the PhD. So I found that I would like to genuinely contribute something. Okay. So when I thought so, that I would genuinely like to contribute something, I also got into, some kind of exploration, that what kind of publications I am making. And then I thought of exploring personal brand building. Otherwise, who is going to recognize you? Okay. So personal brand building, how to do that? There are several ways of doing it. For example, I can take my selfies and post it there in, let's say, your Facebook or places like that. And trust me, I used to be a very, very active member in Facebook. I'm not saying that that is any bad to be in Facebook or places like that, or any other social media. But then after a certain time, probably it was to me that whatever my objectives are, that is really not getting satisfied if I am in that forum. Okay. So what I was mainly keen to do is that showcasing whatever I am little bit I am doing and contributing to people who can guide me in real time. So eventually many of us do, and I also started doing that in professional media. All right. And from there, some of the people in India and abroad expressed interest to work with me. And this time, all these guys are from industry. So I got a feel that, look, whatever I am doing, although I am doing in a restricted environment, but then it is actually capturing attention. So why not to explore this? And I started exploring. And I kept my ego aside so that, there is a hunch feeling that, look, I am from academia, or there is a hunch feeling even from guys from industry that this guy is from, academia, or, I feel that this guy is from industry. So where is the mismatch? The mismatch is in the fact that probably the environments are different, the problem statements are different, and probably one is a bit theoretical, another is more of a practical. So these inhibitions are there. So as long as you are afraid, you are in a comfort zone, that is a very cliche word, that you won't be able to achieve anything. Neither I was looking for achieving anything, but just to prove to myself that whether at all as a customer I can make myself satisfied or not. So as you can see here, this is from terrifying to terrific. This is nothing but the MRI room of kids. Okay, so this is what is the conventional MRI room, and this is what is for kids. So you see that how the makers have empathized their thought process and have created this so that the kids really enjoy this painful process, right? So the same thing was with me, that I was treating myself, my entire growth process, as something which was very, very kind of a toddler sort of at that point of time. I have even been asked at some point of time by some industry guys that what is the point of doing PhD? Why are you doing your PhD, man? Nobody is going to see any of your papers. I said that, yeah, of course. Why someone would see? Yeah. So everybody, whatever problems you're solving now, Google might have thought of. They are not even, taking them out because of patent issues and something, but it will eventually come out. What is the point? So I also gave a deep thought to it, since I used to interact very closely with the industry, being in the B school. So we have to, interact with the corporate quite often. So that is why I also thought that, okay, maybe probably it is like that. So why not to explore it? So I went out of my comfort zone. I was even ready to get, some kind of humiliated if at all people say that, okay, guy, okay, man, this is absolutely rubbish which you are thinking. I was okay with that, but I need to validate that whether I'm on the right track or not. So that brings in several collaboration. And that's what I'm trying to say, that usability and desirability, technology and feasibility. You see the Venn diagram that is being created here, and the kind of, places of intersection and the business viability. So there is a common say that people from academia do not understand the business viability. Okay. So, in my opinion, what I have seen that, I usually tell this also, that if someone is a marketing professor, let's say, and, usually have not experienced selling a 5 rupee, let's say, soap to someone else, then it is very difficult for the person to really express what marketing is. To do that, one must set aside the egos and be much more open to whatever comes in the way. All right. So what I'm trying to say is that in that way, try to empathize with the customer. Define my problem. You interact with yourself. Try to understand what is your problem. What is the problem of others? Try to wear their shoes, and then you ideate the solution either for yourself or for others. All right. How do you ideate the solution? The example which I was giving, when I started collaborating with people, that was a prototype which I built. Okay. So when I built the prototype and when I started showcasing them, and, upfront, I used to, barge in and say that, look, I have got this idea. Hey, I have got this kind of a solution. So would you like to take it and test it? And even if it is rubbish, you just throw it out. I have no issues, but just tell me, give me a feedback that whatever I am thinking, whether it is a validated thing or not. So in that way, gradually, I observed that people from both industry and academia, I am good to go along with both of them, and I can work with both of them, which was really, I was really, let's say, fortunate to find that, and I started collaborating with them. And once I started collaborating with them, even being in academia, and I was quite having a restricted environment in terms of, let's say, processing power, in terms of machineries or these things. But then you see, innovation happens only in limitations in most of the cases. In abundance, why at all, man, you will think of innovation? You are already having that, isn't it? So, where is the point of innovating? So innovating usually happens when you are in distress. Innovation happens when there is no abundance. Innovation happens in limitations. Innovation happens when you are being really challenged, right? So here comes the design thinking, that these are the steps. So you build the prototype, test it, wear the shoes of the customer, okay? And then, so you see, there are several surveys which are going on. There are several feedbacks which are being collected. What is the use? The use is simply this, that what is the significance you get out of this, so that you can understand the pain points and then build the prototype and then do the test and can provide a solution essentially. All right. So how it differs from conventional thinking? Conventional thinking thinks of viability and feasibility. So let's see the kind of background that I am having a 17 years of teaching background. And then when I shifted to industry, that is to corporate, to Siemens, where I am currently serving. So it is quite a kind of an unconventional move if you look at it from outside, but it is not really. Why am I saying this? Because let's say for the last at least 8 to 9 years, in close collaboration, I'm working with the industry, with the people of the industry, with their mannerism, with the problem statements that they are having. So I'm collaborating from outside, making certain publications and stuff like that. But I do understand that if you ask me that what is your industrial actual experience, it is more than whatever you see apparently. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, that if you look at from to this particular problem in a traditional approach, you will think of what is the viability, whether it is feasible or not, shall I get into it. So this is what is a conventional thinking process. But then one of my bosses, like I must tell you that when I joined the B school just after leaving, let's say BIT, there the CEO, he used to have sessions with us. I stayed back there for 2 years, but then I used to enjoy his sessions in Learn and Intern a lot. Okay. And he told many things. He is quite an inspiring man, a big personality in Bengal. And I must say that I really got benefited from his Learn and Intern sessions, the way he has dealt in with his life and stuff like that. But one particular phrase I remembered, whatever he said, that is a punchline most of the times to me. He said that, look, people can resist you in different ways, in your approaches, in your thought, in your offerings. So you may get resisted because you are nobody. You are absolutely nobody. You are the at the end of the hierarchy. So you are the bottom lineup in the hierarchy. There are so many people. There are so many people above you. So you will be restricted. You will be challenged. That is absolutely fine. But you see, nobody can restrict your mind. That is one. Second is that the table that has been given to you, whether you are sitting with all your colleagues just like a cyber cafe, or you are being given a chamber, the table that is given to you to work with your laptop or with your notepad or whatsoever, nobody can resist you there if you do the work. So you are the boss there. You can do whatever you feel like. You can explore and be the king of the entire world if you just sit there and do radical thinking and do blue ocean strategy, right? You might have heard of blue ocean strategy, right? So there are two types of strategies. One is a red ocean and another is a blue ocean. So red ocean is something where the competition is already there. There is much fight and the blood is there. So that's why the ocean turns red. Blue ocean is something which is something innovative. There is no competition. So I'm just giving you an example. All of you must be familiar, although this is not a very, very healthy example, but then still of the particular medicine called ivermectin, right? So ivermectin has been very effective for COVID treatment. I am so familiar with the name because I myself was bogged down with COVID for one long month last year, and it was a severe one, I must tell you. And this medicine worked for me as well, like many others. So this ivermectin is a medicine which, as far as I know, is for treating some other disease, something else. When it was invented, the COVID was not there in the scene at all. So it was been invented just to treat something else, which was not at all COVID. But then the doctors found that this is working miraculously in COVID. So this is what is the blue ocean strategy. So people were thinking and fighting with many other stuffs which are conventional for, let's say, flu kind of a disease. But this particular drug is the blue ocean strategy which came in, right? So this is what is the radical thinking, the innovation. Okay, so traditional thinking as compared to design thinking works towards avoiding failures, thinking, planning, creating a passive experience and giving the right answers. But in design thinking, there is no right answer, right? So there is a very common thing which says that you take the decision and then make it right. So the design thinking approach has 5 steps, and as I was showing you, and it is also here, empathize, which is very, very important. It is important to empathize with your customers, with your stakeholders. It is more important to empathize with yourself, okay? Then to define the problem, ideate the solution, build a prototype, test it, and then, offer it. But before that, please do not take conventional thinking route. So it is basically a customer-centric approach where this happens. So if you are doing a research on which government is investing so much, how to do the research, why it is very important to understand that why you want to do the research. What is the reason you want to do the research? Is it just that you want to earn a PhD degree, or you have got something else in your mind, right? That is your motivation. And let me tell you that neither the degree nor the publication, it is more of your zeal and just to have a problem-solving attitude while you do your research, whether it's for PhD or for the industry. If it is not that, then you see there are so many publications, nobody cares about that. Unless and until you are adding some value to the lives of the stakeholders, people, or surroundings around you. So however trivial it is, however little it is, only by this kind of an approach you can add value. You can do research, then only it is going to really, really pay you back in many folds. Otherwise, it is very, very difficult. So this is what are the different steps which are there. There is another approach which I would say, which is that research-oriented approach which you are saying. This is called double diamond approach. So here, first you need to be aware. So you see, there is a person who is successful and unsuccessful. In most of the cases, if you observe, you will see the successful person is much, much aware than the unsuccessful person. The unsuccessful person may be very, very brilliant or intelligent, but is not aware that what are the options and opportunities the person is having. So that is why you need to do a research and have an empathy to define the problems, right? The results or the outputs must be measurable, tangible. So that's why you need to do the ideation conversion to a prototype, followed by the validation. And then you see what is the impact to the world. And it doesn't happen overnight. You have to have the patience. So if you have the patience and be in the right track, definitely you will find the impact. But for that, probably you have to wait for a while. So you must be patient enough to give yourself that breathing period. All right. So my final words is, find what you love to do. You just do not get guided by anybody else or anyone else. What is more important, that whether you are in industry and academia, to be a professional of independence, you should not be guided or afraid of anybody or by anybody, right? So it's that you are a professional, you should be equally performing wherever you love to perform, and you must be open for that. You must be like a sniffer dog for opportunities, and you should not let go the opportunities. You need to set your goals and objectives and seek novelty in design if that suits you, because of the fact the novelty in design is something where you will be able to establish that what is your contribution to the existing body of knowledge, right? So if there is no contribution, then it will not be embraced. And in this way, you can just think of going ahead. Why? Because if you can go ahead, then only you will be having the attitude of just doing it. Don't think much, but before that, think of these steps and try to get the best out of yourself, as long as you are willing to go ahead with it and willing to achieve it in your own definition, not neither in my definition nor in someone else's definition. So then probably we can have a happy perspective, zeal for research and interest for research, and our aims in lives will be fulfilled. Otherwise, even if you reach a much, much higher level or height, by, let's say, either by the sabotaging or by nepotism, then finally, at the end of the day, you will find yourself to be very, very cornered and will not be able to face yourself eye to eye when you stand in front of the mirror. So that this is very important, that whatever you do in your life, or whatever way you look at it, you must first be true to yourself, and then only, I feel, according to me, we will be able to achieve majis, that is striving for excellence. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Richter, for your motivational speech and your design thinking approach. Now we will move to our question answer session. Participants, if you have any question, you can ask directly to the speaker, or you can write in the chat box also. You can unmute yourself and ask the question to the speaker. Or write your question in the chat box, please. One question from chat box. What is tool for creative thinking?
Yeah, okay. So the tool for creative thinking is something which is your, let's say, I would rather say dissatisfaction, right? The tool for creative thinking is dissatisfaction. If you are dissatisfied, you will be interested in creativity. And if you are satisfied, then there is no creativity. So as long as you are dissatisfied, that will act as your tool, as your booster for creative thinking, and you will try to achieve achieve excellence in whatever you do. So that's how you can move ahead. And second is that you have to be aware to do creative thinking. So if you do not know that what has already happened, then whether it is creative or not, you will not be able to validate. So one is awareness, another is dissatisfaction. These two things, you make a proper mix, and then you go ahead with your creative thinking.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Any other question? You can ask to speaker. Another question are there?
Creative or critical thinking. Okay. You see, there is it depends on the scenario, or the or the environment you are in, whether you should do creative or you should do critical. So for usually when we are happy with our lives, and when we are doing conventional work, so there probably critical thinking will add value to you. But then when you want to do radically different, or when you want to place yourself in a radically different manner than whatever you are currently in, then creative thinking will help you out. So it is up to you that when to take a call for a critical thinking or a creative thinking, that whether you want to be consistent and be in your comfort zone and still would like to add value, then critical thinking is very essential. And also after that, creative thinking. But then if you want to drastically change everything, right, that is a big bang approach, and then probably creative thinking will help you.
Thank you. Any other question? Please write in the chat box. Yes, another question, Satya.
Search a lot before starting. Okay, so start early. Okay, start early, and failing is something I should say something good, because of the fact that whether you are going in the right track or not, that is a demarker. But then demarcation is being done by that. But then you need to understand first that you have failed while you have started early. Many of us fail to understand that whether we have failed or not, because definition of failure is different to each individual, right? So it's good that you learn or you research about your philosophy or what exactly you want to do. Then only you can judge itself as whether it is a failure or whether it is a success, right? So that is why it is essential to research about your own problem statement and motivational areas, that what you exactly want to do, and that will exactly help you to understand that when we have failed, or whether you have failed or not, or you are making a slow progress towards the success. Okay, so failure is nothing but your understanding and progress towards the success. So there is nothing as such called failure, right? So this is how I look at it. Is competition a factor for creative thinking? Well, for creative thinking, of course, competition is one of the factors, but not the entire factor, because during many people who lose out in the competition also become creative thinkers and become a big success in latter phase of life. So competition, of course, is a booster for instant creative thinking, but then it is not the only determining factor. Yes, Jayaprakash, thank you.
Thank you. Any other question from your side? Another
Such a long question. Do you think that creativity involves putting your heart and soul into your work, or is it more like letting your mind flow freely, or witness the, or is it more letting your mind freely or witness the surprising results for your actions? Okay, so the answer lies in your question itself. The second part of your question, it should be the first way, that you put your heart and soul and you put your mind free, and then once you put your mind free and define the problem, then you put your heart and soul to solve it, and then you will be ready or in a position to observe the surprising result. So if you separate them and try to achieve the surprising result with either of them or any one of them, then it is not going to happen. You have to put this in proper sequence. You see, you are already there, but just need to put your thoughts in proper sequence, and you will be able to experience the surprising results, right?
Any other question? Yes, another questions are there.
So we can usually we deal with the issues which are bothering us. That is something which is functional, or which we know that this is bothering us. Functional means which is tangible, which is visible. We also deal with the issues which are not visible or tangible. Those are non-functional in design thinking. That is, let's say, there is a horn. You understand horn to just fit your shoes in your feet, right? There is a horn like this by which you put your shoes in your feet. So nobody has told the shoemakers to put that horn inside that box so that it becomes easy for you to put the shoes, in your feet, right? So that is what is something which is not being told, but still you are solving it by putting the shoes of the customers in your own feet. And that is what is the non-functional requirement which you are solving. So functional requirement is that you get to rid off from the dust in the road, or let's say some kind of, there are stones in the road, so you need to wear the shoes. That is what is the functional requirement. So there also design thinking comes into place, and a non-functional requirement, that how the customer will easily fit into the shoes with the horns. So that's how is the non-functional requirement, which is also a part of it. So you see, both the types of issues which are visible and invisible can be solved with the help of design thinking.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other question?
As you said, you went for different interviews.
Yes,
What
yes.
made you never get fed up or give up? So that is correct. I even, as you can see, that I am still in a new job. So that means again, I went ahead with an interview. It is just that, you see, for me, if you ask, I mean, it is just that I was little bit apprehensive that what exactly I thought of myself. I'm not really that, so I must test myself. That was one of the motivation. And also at times I feel that getting challenged will bring out the best in me so that I can explore it better. So for that, I never get fed up. At least if I cannot respond instantaneously to the question, I will at least explore it later on and will learn something new. So that was the main booster or motivation for me to still appear for, go ahead and appear for interviews. Yeah. Which having vast future critical thinking, or which having vast future critical thinking or creative thinking. Both the things are having vast future, man. Maheshwar, critical and creative. It depends on the life experiences that you gain, and you have to do a proper trade-off between these two to make your future bright. So you have to do both the critical and the creative thinking to make things happen according to your wish. Otherwise, we will be in critical condition, right? So what types of issues can we deal with critical thinking? So let's say the issues that we deal with critical thinking are conventional issues, but we can add values with to them. So, for example, there are you need a computing power. Okay, so you need a computing power, but currently you do not have GPU resource with you. So what will you do? Since it's a technical session, I am taking this example. You may find out possibilities that how can you make yourself familiar in Kaggle, or how you can make yourself familiar in Google Colab, because that will offer you free GPU. Okay, so in this way, if you think, then this is something that with the existing resources, how you can bring in changes. So there where the critical thinking comes into place. And in this way, if you think, this is really going to help you. Siddhant. Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions? I think there is no more question.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rikdas. Your presence and wise words helped magnify our cause in the best possible way. All thanks to your enlightening words that inspired our students. You explained VUCA word in very easy way. You explained very well what is critical thinking. I think workshop was very much interactive and we thoroughly enjoyed the workshop. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Now
Please.
Now I am requesting our IIC convener, Professor Tanmoy Pal, to represent e-certificate to our speaker and share a few words.
Yes, thank you, Kuntala Madam. Before I share the certificate to sir, I would like to again thanks to Dr. Das from bottom of my heart for taking some time for us from your busy schedule, and definitely your presence and wise words helped helped to magnify our cause in the best possible way. So all thanks to your enlightened words, and I hope that inspired our participants as well. And we look forward to hear you from your side so very soon. And this is a very small token of appreciation from IIC BIT. Is it visible?
Yes, thank you very much. It is visible. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, we will share it with you, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Over to you, Kuntala Madam.
Thank you, Professor Tanmoy Pal, sir, for sharing e-certificate. Now, I would like to request Professor Bulbul Mukherjee, Madam, to give vote of thanks, and Rajesh, sir, to provide feedback link in the chat box and WhatsApp group also. Bulbul Di, over to you.
Thank you, Shanti. On behalf of Institutions Innovation Council, BIT, I extend a hearty vote of thanks to our honorary speaker, Dr. Rik Dash, who spared time from his busiest schedule to grace this webinar. Today, we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts and insights that will surely be going to enrich our knowledge and thinking capability. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you very much to all the participants present here in the webinar to make the event a grand success. Thank you, Principal Sir, Professor Dr. N.C. Ghosh, President of IICBIT, Professor Orpita Chakraborty, Vice President of IICBIT, Professor Dr. Dapon Kumar Pal, Convener IICBIT, Professor Tanmoy Pal, and BIT College Management to provide full support to make the program successful. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Techno India management to inspire us to organize such events. Thank you, my IRC calendar activity teammates, Professor Sudipto Dotto, Professor Shanti Srira, Professor Shutapa Mishra, Professor Rajesh Roy, Professor Bishwajit Maiti, Professor Piyali Pradhan, Professor Shubhra Sarkar, Professor Kuntala Das, Professor Shreyoshi Mojumdar for your constant support. Thank you all.